Reaction to the outbreak of hostilities between Iran-backed forces and Israel has been swift, amid fears that Iran will ramp up its nuclear ambitions.
If that happens, we could have a dramatic escalation of conflict in the Middle East to the point that it would really raise concerns about whether or not we could contain that conflict or whether we're on the precipice of a world war.
Retired four-star general and Fox News senior strategic analyst General Jack Keane joins us tonight. Great to have you with us.
Yeah, good to see you, Shannon.
Okay, so obviously the Syrian war has opened up an opportunity for Iran to move facilities, people, even weaponry into Syria, giving it a much cleaner shot at Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu says, we're not going to stand for that. He said this, quote, "The international community must prevent the entrenchment of the Al-Quds force in Syria. Iran crossed a red line, and we responded proportionally." How big is the problem?
The problem is huge. I mean, what the Iranians have done, Syria represents a strategic anchor for them. Every single year since the Islamic Republic of Iran was formed in 1980, they have said that they intend as a strategic objective to destroy the state of Israel. They've got 130,000 missiles and rockets in the Hezbollah's hands right now in Lebanon. What they're trying to do is replicate that in southern Syria with tens of thousands of rockets. They already brought in to prop up the Assad regime tens of thousands of their proxies. That is why we squandered the opportunities to push back on this a number of years ago during the Obama administration. It has brought us to this problem where our closest ally in the region is being threatened. Its very sovereignty is being threatened by the Iranians. So where are we heading with this? The attack that the Iranians led was done by Qasem Soleimani. He is 20 years the head of the Quds Force. He works for no military leader. He works for the supreme leader. He's a combination of the CIA and Special Operations Forces. So this is a calculated move on their part to really encroach on Israel. And Israel has drawn a red line, Shannon. They're going to go after them. They cannot afford to let them rain missiles and rockets on Tel Aviv and Jerusalem from multiple locations, which would overwhelm their defenses. If that happened, we would have a war with Israel and Lebanon and also with Iran. So there is a path here where war could break out with Israel and Lebanon and the Iranians for sure.
Okay, what are we to make of this? Iran's president has, we think of it in terms of the Ayatollahs are calling the shots over there. The supreme leader is calling the shots. But Hassan Rouhani says this, apparently that he's talked to German Chancellor Angela Merkel, saying he doesn't want any new tensions there. He says, quote, "Iran has always sought to reduce tensions in the region, trying to strengthen security and stability." That's allegedly part of a phone call those two had.
That's just a bold-faced lie, and the facts don't support any of that whatsoever. Of course, they're nestling up next to the Europeans here. The Iranians are not going to pull out of this deal initially because it's to their economic benefit to stay in it. They're going to take sanctions from the United States, and I hope they're comprehensive as they possibly can be. Secretary Mnuchin said they would be. But they don't want sanctions also imposed on them from the Europeans. So that's why they're going to stay in the deal for the near term. And I trust that our sanctions are tough, and I think we also should be sanctioning European companies that are doing business with them. We worked for months to try to bring the Europeans around. They agreed on the secret sites prohibition being removed. They agreed on ballistic missiles prohibition being removed and that being added to the nuclear deal. They did not agree on the sunset clauses being removed, and that means that Iran has a pathway to a nuclear weapon. Why didn't they agree to that? Because they knew the Iranians would balk, and as a result of that, sanctions would have to be imposed because the Iranians would pull out of the deal, and they don't want to lose the financial interest that they have in Iran right now. That's the dirty little secret that we have. Notice that our Sunni Arab allies in Israel are all for the decision that the president made. They believe that that decision enhances their security. It doesn't do what Secretary Panetta is suggesting, that we're on a cusp of possibly World War III. That's not going to happen.
All right. Well, with the embassy move coming next week and, top officials being there, it's going to be a place to watch, certainly, as these tensions either increase or decrease overnight and in the coming days. General, always great to have your insights.
Yeah, good talking to you, Shannon.
Thank you so much.